Every day, we wake up with two choices: to stay the same or to take one step toward the person we're meant to become. Most people wait for the right moment. But the truth is, there's never a perfect time. Growth doesn't wait for ideal conditions. It happens when you decide enough is enough. The 21-day growth challenge is not about changing your entire life overnight. It's about taking consistent, powerful steps every single day. Because it's not the size of your leap that transforms your life, it's the power of your daily commitment. Day one is not about being ready. Day one is about deciding. It's about saying, I will not let fear, doubt, or old habits control my future. For the next 21 days, imagine showing up for yourself, even on the days you don't feel like it. That's where real growth happens. When discipline speaks louder than excuses. When your why becomes stronger than your comfort zone. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. Those 21 days will challenge your mindset. They will test your patience. They will push your limits. But they will also build something extraordinary inside you, a version of yourself that refuses to give up. Transformation isn't found in one big moment of motivation. It's found in the quiet, repeated decision to keep going, to keep showing up, to keep growing. And when you reach day 21, you'll look back and realize the real reward isn't just what you achieved, it's who you became along the way. This is your time, not tomorrow, not someday. Start today. Start with one step, because the best version of you is not waiting at the finish line. It's built in the journey itself. Growth begins the moment you choose to act, not when conditions are perfect. Most people wait for the stars to align, for everything to feel just right, for the world to give them a clear sign. But the truth is, growth doesn't happen in perfect timing. It happens when you decide to move forward despite uncertainty. The people who grow the fastest are not the ones who have the best opportunities. They are the ones who take the opportunities they have and make them count. When you wait for perfection, you give power to hesitation. When you act, you give power to momentum. The fear of making a wrong move keeps many people stuck in the same place for years. But action, even imperfect action, breaks the chains of stagnation and opens the door to transformation. Every great journey starts with a single step that is often uncomfortable. Growth doesn't begin when you feel completely prepared. It begins when you decide that staying the same is no longer an option. Comfort is familiar, but it doesn't build strength. Challenges do. Every time you act in the face of discomfort, you create a new layer of resilience within yourself. Growth demands courage, not comfort. The path is never perfectly clear, and that's exactly why action matters. The more you move, the clearer things become. Clarity is not the requirement for action, it's the reward of it. Most people imagine that they need to have a perfect plan, the right tools, and absolute certainty before starting something new. But perfection is an illusion that hides fear. The best plan in the world is useless if it's never executed. Taking action, even when things feel uncertain, gives you something that waiting never will: real progress. One step leads to the next, one effort builds on another, and slowly the path that seemed unclear begins to take shape beneath your feet. Waiting makes dreams distant. Acting makes them tangible. The world rewards those who are willing to move first, not those who think the longest. Every skill, every success, every breakthrough in history has been born from someone's willingness to act before they felt ready. Readiness is often the result of doing, not the other way around. Growth is like a muscle. It doesn't develop through thinking about lifting weights. It develops through the resistance of actually lifting them. In the same way, personal development happens not through endless planning, but through real, sometimes messy action. Fear whispers that you should wait a little longer. Doubt tells you to fix every detail first. But confidence doesn't come from thinking. It comes from moving. The moment you take that first step, your energy shifts. You feel a spark of life, a surge of momentum, a sense of possibility. One small act can ignite a chain reaction that transforms everything. Every great leader, creator, or achiever started with uncertainty. But they didn't let uncertainty become their excuse. They let it become their reason to move. When you act, you separate yourself from the crowd that keeps waiting. You become the person who dares to shape their own future instead of hoping it will shape itself. Action creates growth because it forces you to evolve. It pushes you to face real situations, make real decisions, and learn real lessons. Those lessons are far more valuable than anything you can imagine in your comfort zone. The path may not be easy, but it's the path where you discover your strength, your clarity, and your potential. Growth begins the moment you stop waiting for the perfect time and choose to take the step right now. Discipline is not about being the best. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday. Many people confuse discipline with perfection as if it's a competition to outdo everyone else. But true discipline has nothing to do with beating others. It's about consistently showing up for yourself. It's about waking up each day with the mindset that progress matters more than comparison. You don't need to be flawless to grow. You need to be committed to small, steady improvement. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't scream for attention. It builds strength behind the scenes, one intentional choice at a time. The real power of discipline lies in its simplicity. You don't have to transform everything in a single day. You only need to make today count more than yesterday did. That means choosing to take one more step, push a little further, learn a little deeper, or focus a little stronger. When you do that consistently, the gap between who you are and who you want to be begins to close. Discipline is the bridge between potential and progress. It's not glamorous or easy, but it's the foundation of every lasting change. Perfection is an illusion, but discipline is real. It doesn't require perfect conditions or flawless execution. It only requires your decision to keep showing up. Some days you'll be strong and motivated, and some days you'll feel tired and uninspired. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward on both kinds of days. It's the inner agreement you make with yourself to grow, no matter how small the step may be. Over time, these small steps accumulate into something powerful. When you focus on being the best, your motivation rises and falls with comparison. But when you focus on being better than you were yesterday, your only competition is your past self. That shift changes everything. It removes the pressure of proving something to the world and replaces it with the power of proving something to yourself. You begin to celebrate your small wins, not just big achievements. You start valuing progress, not perfection. And this is where true growth begins. Discipline doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't wait for the perfect time. It doesn't rely on inspiration. It's a habit built through repetition. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you strengthen your inner foundation. You teach your mind that you can be trusted, that your goals matter, that you are capable of following through. That trust in yourself is what separates wishful thinking from real transformation. It's easy to be disciplined when things are going well. The real test happens when everything feels heavy. On those days, the smallest act of discipline carries the greatest power. Showing up when it's hard is what creates resilience. Resilience builds character. Character builds identity. And identity creates momentum that no outside pressure can break. Each time you choose discipline over excuses, you write a new story about who you are becoming. The beautiful thing about discipline is that it compounds. A small act done daily can produce extraordinary results over time. You don't have to win today. You just have to grow today. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be persistent. Growth is not measured by giant leaps, but by consistent steps. Discipline is what ensures those steps never stop. It turns ordinary effort into extraordinary strength. It transforms potential into progress and progress into identity. When you stop chasing being the best and start focusing on being better than yesterday, you unlock the kind of growth that lasts forever. 21 days is not just a number. It's a commitment to a new identity. When most people hear 21 days, they think of it as a countdown, a fixed time frame that promises change at the end. But real transformation isn't about the number of days. It's about the daily decision to become someone new. These 21 days are not about ticking off boxes on a calendar. They're about reshaping the way you see yourself. Every single day is a chance to build habits, break old patterns, and take steps toward the version of you that you've always known you could be. Change doesn't happen through random bursts of motivation. It happens through commitment. Commitment means showing up even when no one is watching, even when the excitement fades, even when it gets uncomfortable. The first few days may feel exciting because it's something new, but true growth begins when the excitement wears off and discipline takes over. It's in those moments that you choose whether to go back to who you were or step forward into who you're becoming. Every action you take during those 21 days sends a message to your mind about the identity you're creating. When you show up to exercise, your mind doesn't just record the workout. It begins to see you as someone who prioritizes health. When you choose to stay focused on your goal instead of distractions, your mind doesn't just note the task. It starts believing you're someone who finishes what they start. Every small act builds a new layer of self-image. That's why these 21 days carry so much power. It's not the length of time, it's the identity shift happening underneath the surface. Most people try to change their results without changing their identity. They set goals but keep seeing themselves the same way. But when you use 21 days to rewire your identity, everything else follows. Your habits, your thoughts, your actions begin to align with the new version of yourself. Identity shapes behavior. If you believe you're someone who's disciplined, you act accordingly. If you believe you're someone who quits, you act accordingly. These 21 days are a chance to change that belief at its core. The mind loves repetition. It learns who you are through what you consistently do. Every day you make a choice, and every choice either strengthens the old identity or builds the new one. That's why commitment matters more than perfection. Missing a single step doesn't break you, but showing up with purpose again and again transforms you. The real magic of 21 days is not what you get at the end, but who you become through the process. These 21 days also teach you self-respect. When you commit to something and follow through, you prove to yourself that your word matters. You no longer need external validation because your actions give you the confidence that comes from self-trust. Identity isn't created through what you say, it's created through what you repeatedly do. Every time you keep that promise to yourself, your new identity becomes stronger and louder. This journey is not about forcing yourself to become someone else. It's about uncovering the strength, focus, and discipline that already live inside you. Each day you act in alignment with that vision, you bring that version of yourself closer to reality. The number 21 is simply a container. What truly matters is the person you choose to become inside it. When you treat those days as a commitment to your identity, you stop waiting for change and start embodying it. This is the difference between trying to change and actually becoming the change. It's not the number that transforms you. It's the decision to own your identity day after day until it becomes who you are. Clarity of why gives strength to endure every how. When you have a powerful reason behind your actions, obstacles lose their ability to break you. The how is often uncertain, messy, and uncomfortable. It's the part where you stumble, learn, and keep going. But the why is what keeps you steady when everything else feels unstable. People often give up not because the path is too hard, but because their purpose isn't strong or clear enough to carry them through it. When you know why you started, every setback becomes a step, not a stop. A clear why creates inner fuel. It gives meaning to your struggles. It connects your actions to something bigger than the moment you're in. Without a clear why, even the smallest challenges can feel overwhelming. But with it, even the biggest obstacles can be faced with determination. Think of every person who's achieved something meaningful. Their path wasn't smooth. They didn't succeed because everything went their way. They succeeded because their why was stronger than their excuses. The how is the practical side of the journey. It's about strategies, methods, daily steps, and plans. But plans can change. Paths can twist. Life can throw unexpected turns. If you depend only on the how, you'll break the moment things don't go as expected. But when your foundation is a clear why, you learn to adapt without losing direction. The why becomes your anchor in the storm, the thing that keeps you from drifting away when everything else shifts. Clarity is not just about knowing your goal, it's about deeply understanding your purpose. Goals can motivate, but purpose sustains. A person who wants to get fit may stop when it gets uncomfortable. But someone who wants to get fit to be strong for their children, to live longer, or to prove to themselves they can be more than their past, that person pushes through the pain because the why is personal and powerful. The strength doesn't come from physical ability alone. It comes from the fire of purpose burning underneath the effort. When challenges arise, the mind starts searching for reasons to quit. It whispers that it's too hard, too uncertain, too far away. But if your why is clear, it gives you something louder to hold on to. You can endure the how because you're not chasing comfort, you're chasing meaning. The clarity of your why turns pain into progress, fatigue into focus, and fear into fuel. It transforms struggle from something to escape into something to overcome. Clarity also simplifies decision-making. When your why is strong, distractions lose their pull. You no longer waste energy questioning every step because your direction is already set. Discipline becomes easier because your actions are aligned with something that matters deeply to you. You stop negotiating with your goals because your why has already made the decision for you. It's not about forcing yourself to act. It's about being pulled forward by something bigger than excuses. Many people struggle not because they lack ability, but because their why is vague. They chase outcomes they don't fully understand. But when your why is clear, even the toughest days have purpose. You may bend, but you don't break. You may slow down, but you don't stop. The why gives weight to your effort, and that weight is what turns ordinary persistence into extraordinary strength. The how will always be uncertain. It will test you, stretch you, and sometimes make you question everything. But clarity of why gives you the endurance to keep walking even when the path disappears. It gives power to your steps, direction to your effort, and fire to your heart. It becomes the unshakable foundation beneath everything else. The force that carries you through every obstacle, and the quiet strength that reminds you why you can't give up. Small steps done daily build unshakable momentum. Most people underestimate the power of small, consistent actions. They believe that only massive leaps create transformation, but real growth doesn't come from sudden explosions of effort. It comes from quiet, steady movement in the right direction. A single step may feel insignificant in the moment, but when repeated over time, it builds strength, discipline, and unstoppable progress. Momentum is not created overnight. It's built through the decision to keep moving forward one step at a time, even when it feels slow. The beauty of small steps is that they are sustainable. Big goals can feel overwhelming, but small actions break them into something manageable. They give you something you can actually do today, not someday. Each small step carries the power to create a ripple effect, shifting the way you see yourself and what you believe you're capable of. Over time, those steps stack on top of each other, forming a foundation so strong that stopping becomes harder than continuing. That is how momentum works. Momentum doesn't start with perfection, it starts with consistency. The first few steps might feel heavy because there's no rhythm yet. But as you keep showing up, your mind adjusts, your confidence grows, and your energy begins to flow in the direction of your actions. What once felt difficult starts to feel natural. Your brain learns to expect movement, not hesitation. This shift is where unshakable momentum begins to form. Small steps also eliminate excuses. When the step is small, it's harder to justify skipping it. Reading one page, doing 5 push-ups, journaling for 5 minutes, making one meaningful decision. These actions might seem small, but they carry weight. Because you're not waiting for the perfect moment to do something grand. You're proving to yourself, day after day, that you are capable of showing up. Every small action becomes a brick in the wall of your future self. Another powerful thing about small steps is that they compound. Just like a drop of water can carve stone over time, you're small. Repeated actions shape your life without you even realizing it. What seems invisible today becomes undeniable tomorrow. One page becomes a book, one workout becomes a stronger body, one habit becomes a lifestyle. Momentum is the invisible force that builds when your daily actions align with your goals. It's quiet in the beginning, but unstoppable once it takes form. Small steps also build trust within yourself. Every time you follow through, even in the smallest way, you send a message to your mind that your word matters. This builds self-respect, and self-respect fuels motivation. You no longer depend on bursts of inspiration because your identity is rooted in consistent action. Momentum doesn't need motivation to survive. It feeds on discipline, on repetition, on showing up even when it's inconvenient. People often give up not because their dreams are too big, but because they don't see immediate results. Small steps remind you that progress isn't always visible in the short term, but it's always happening beneath the surface. It's like pushing a heavy wheel. At first it barely moves, but each push adds energy and soon the wheel moves on its own. Momentum turns effort into flow. What was once hard becomes automatic. The power of momentum lies in its ability to make progress inevitable. When you build it through daily steps, you don't need to constantly restart. You don't have to fight for motivation every morning. The rhythm carries you forward. Each day becomes connected to the next. The steps may be small, but the movement they create is unstoppable. That's why consistency matters more than intensity. Big leaps may impress others, but small steps done daily transform you from the inside out. They turn goals into habits, habits into identity, and identity into momentum that nothing can easily break. Real transformation is not a sprint, it's a series of intentional choices. Change doesn't happen in one grand moment. It's built quietly, decision by decision, day after day. Most people look for the fast way, the shortcut, the quick breakthrough that will change everything at once. But real growth doesn't work like that. It's not about running at full speed for a short time. It's about walking with purpose even when no one is watching. It's about the quiet power of daily choices that slowly shape who you are becoming. Every intentional choice is a seed. It may look small in the beginning, but with time it grows roots and begins to change the landscape of your life. One good choice leads to another, and together they build momentum. Transformation doesn't happen because of a single decision. It happens because you keep choosing growth over comfort, discipline over distraction, and purpose over fear. The world often glorifies big, visible moments, but the truth is, those moments are built on a foundation of many invisible decisions made in silence. A sprint is intense, fast, and often exhausting. It depends on energy that doesn't last long. But real transformation requires endurance. It requires the strength to stay committed even after the excitement fades. It's the choice to get up early when it would be easier to sleep in, to keep going when it would be easier to quit, to stay focused when distractions surround you. These small, deliberate choices shape your character, and character shapes your destiny. Intentional choices create identity. When you make decisions that align with your values, your goals, and your vision, you're not just changing your actions, you're redefining who you are. You begin to see yourself differently, and when your identity shifts, your behavior naturally follows. This is why transformation through intentional choices lasts longer than quick bursts of motivation. Motivation fades, but identity sustains. Each time you choose your future self over temporary comfort, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Transformation is also not about perfection. It's about direction. There will be mistakes, slow days, and moments when you feel like nothing is changing. But as long as your choices remain intentional, progress is still happening. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about choosing to keep moving despite it. Every time you choose to show up again, you build resilience. Every time you choose to learn instead of giving up, you grow stronger. Intentional choices turn setbacks into stepping stones. The power of this process is that it belongs to you. No one can control your choices except you. Life may throw challenges your way. Circumstances may shift, but your power to choose remains. That is what makes transformation unshakable. It doesn't depend on external factors. It's built from within. You don't need everything to be perfect. You only need to keep choosing the path that aligns with your growth. A sprint relies on bursts of energy, but intentional choices create a rhythm that sustains you through the long journey. You don't have to transform everything at once. You only need to decide what kind of person you want to be today and act accordingly. Tomorrow you do it again. Over time, these choices stack up and create something unrecognizable from where you started. That's why transformation isn't dramatic at first. It's quiet, it's gradual, but it's powerful because it's real. When transformation comes from a sprint, it ends when your energy runs out. When it comes from intentional choices, it becomes a part of who you are. It's not forced, it's lived. And every single decision, no matter how small, carries weight. Each one shapes your habits, your mindset, your resilience. Transformation isn't about speed, it's about direction. Consistency and the courage to choose growth again and again, even when no one notices.